Good evening, good evening. I tell you, speak of the people with Rodney Grimes. I hope everyone is. I know people probably was looking for us, and we about 15 minutes running behind, but we was having some complications with um, the what is that called?
The browser.
The browser. So the browser was giving us a little hard time today, and but God is good. I always just when things kind of get thrown off track a little bit, I pay no attention. I just keep it moving. But I just want to again say good evening, welcome, welcome, welcome. So anybody just tuning in now, I know probably some people was looking for me at 6:30, and he's saying, "Oh, you must not be coming on today." But no, no, no. So I was supposed to have Dr. Robert Johnson in today. He informed me that he's a doctor and he wasn't feeling well. And so when he told me that, I was like, okay, you ain't got to say no more. I want him to feel better, and I want to keep feeling better. How about that? So God is good. But I just want to say welcome, welcome to everyone just tuning in. I want to say thank you to all the supporters that's been out there for people to people. Know that we are continue to move forward. We have a lot going on. This is not an easy process. We talked about that before. But I'm going to tell you, this is going to be a powerful, powerful networking force once we really get through all the kinks. I don't like making excuses. What I just want to do is just keep moving forward. I need to, ladies,
Yes.
can you give me a napkin right there or something so I won't wipe my glasses off. Yeah, there you go. All right, thank you. Okay. So, hey, we live and we do what we do. Guess what my topic today is about assets. My topic today is about assets. And it is funny, I was talking just with my son yesterday, and we were just talking about a few things, and one of the things that really, really stayed with me is, what are we doing to invest in ourselves and to our children and to our families? Okay. So I want you to think about something. Everybody just tuning in just now, I say welcome, welcome. This is People to People with Rodney Grimes. We was having problems with the browser, but we are on there and we moving and doing what we do. The topic today is we talking about assets. Now I want you to think about this, and this is something that's really, really important. This is for each and every one of us. Young, gifted. I wanted to, what's that song? Young, gifted, and black. I think that's how it's a song, something like that, right? But anyway, but this is for everybody, but definitely, a lot of times when I speak, I have to speak from a black man perspective because I am a black man in America, and I got to keep it real. And what I realize is that a lot of times when we think about where we are with assets, we don't have them. Okay, so I just want to think about back in the day. We had grandma's house. How many of us can look back and still see grandma's house? Think about that. How many of us can go back and say, look at grandma's house or great grandma's house? Now, that's something that we need to think about in this day and time. How we are preparing our children and our grandchildren for the future. We have to focus on starting to have assets, okay, which is so, so, so very important. And I'm talking about we want assets that are going to be very important in the future for us, okay? So when you think about, you go back and our parents, they weren't in the position really to start to buy property, invest in different areas to make sure that their children was going to have something that they could pass on, right? They weren't buying land, and if they did, a lot of us, what happened is that we don't understand the process of holding on to it, so that it will gain value and become an asset for the individuals for the future. And you think about that. Okay, so it's so important for us to start thinking about having assets for our children. Me personally, I'm starting to think, okay, what can I do? And I'm building this program where people to people. I have a company called Photo Time and Production, which is PTP, and I also have Submerge is another part of an asset that I am building, and this is for the future of my grandchildren. That's what I'm thinking about. My children, my sons are doing what they do. They got a clothing line, and I'm glad that they're doing that. And one of the things that my sons had told me, that they was like, Dad, we watched you as you was um, moving around and doing different things. I was doing production and doing different things. I'm a professional photographer. I was doing different type of events. I had a photography studio in Old Town Alexandria on Mount Vernon Avenue. They seen me always doing some type of hustle, a legal hustle at that. And they told me that they picked that up, and that's why they are doing what they're doing today. And that's almost like, establishing some type of asset. Okay, well, when I say that, I didn't have nothing physical, but I did give them something where they were able to get some ideas and focus on having their own business because they saw me doing that as I was coming up and raising them. And so now what I'm thinking about is my grandchildren. How do I prepare them? And each one of us have to be in a position where we got to be very conscious of building assets so that the grandparents and the great grandparents can leave something for the children to pass on to their children and keep going. I'm talking about clothing lines, houses, apartment buildings, even old cars, things that holds a value and that will be able to bless them in the future. When we thinking about it in this country, it's a lot of people who build and they make sure that they have the right assets for their children. And that's how they're able to control the different businesses and have different opportunities to do different things. So think about that. I really, really wanted to talk to you about. Hey, Lady Z. Okay, so if you look in my bag, I got some booklets in there, and I want to get that information out just so I can keep moving forward. I'm just really, really. I've been thinking about assets all day, and I was like, man, what are we gonna do to change this? What are we gonna do? Yeah, and this. Give me okay. I think all that right there. I appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah. So and I'm telling you, uh, it's so very important for us to think about. It's one more. I think it's one more. Yeah. It's so important for us to think about the assets and what are we going to do for our children, our great grandchildren, our grandchildren, to have them so that they'll know that they don't want to um, just keep spending their money. Give me that one. I think that's it. Yeah. All right. Thanks. So, no, that's not it either. But that's all right. The devil's a lie, because I was looking as, huh? No, look on the, okay. Don't worry about it. I know I got it because I had it and I was working on it and looking at it. Yeah. But, again, what I'm looking at is what we're building for the future of our children. Okay, and that's for all of us. We got to work on that. It's not in it. We got to work on it to a point where look behind my laptop in there. Yeah, see if it's another folder behind that booklet or something. Nothing. No, behind it. Yeah. So, everybody just tuning in. I want you to think about that. Think about your assets. Think about what are you doing, how you preparing your children, your grandchildren, and getting them so that they can understand what is necessary for us to move forward. No, that's not it either. It's actually a booklet. If you don't see another one in it, it got to be. It's probably right here with me. I'm just overlooking it. Oh, I got it. I'm sorry. Here we go. All right. Yeah. So, what I did is, I'm just, I really was just thinking about this all day today and thinking about what was we establishing. Are we establishing anything with property? Are we having any type of resources, buildings? Are we putting ourselves in a position where we are trying to invest? See, we don't have a problem with going and buying clothes, buying a new car, trying to keep up with the neighbors on this, this, and that. But what we really need to do is focus on start to build assets so that we can actually start to generate some wealth for our grandchildren. Okay, and still even for our children as well. It's not too late. I remember a while back, T.I. said when we was getting the stimulus checks and those things, he would say, save the money and then go buy some property. Go buy some property. So what I'm telling a lot of people, what you want to do is you also want to find little businesses. If you got somebody that's want to sell pies, invest in them and help them get the pies and everything, and start your own little business, because what you now is starting to build asset. You're starting to build an asset where somebody in your family will have something to go back and fall back on. And we have to change the way we're thinking, the way we are conducting business in our families. So, when you look at the fact and see how many type of assets there are, it's really, really important for us to think about it, because we got the tangibles, we have the liability, we got fixed. All of them play a factor. All of them play a factor. Your fixed assets, your fixed assets are like long term. Okay, long term assets that's going to be able to really, really help you out, where you'll be able to take and it'll save you. You'll be able to pay bills with it. You'll be able to use it to negotiate. See, a lot of us in this day and time, we don't talk about these things. That's what people to people. It's all about we getting information, trying to change the way we're going about dealing with each other, making those connections so that we can get that knowledge that we didn't have. When I grew up, let me tell you something. I'm going to go back for a minute. So we just talking about assets. Let me tell you something. When I was growing up in the 60s, okay, you didn't even hear too much about college in your house. And that's not that far off. I'm 61 years old. And so a lot of people can agree with me on this. But back then, you didn't hear your parents, too many people talking about college. You didn't hear them talking about school at the level that they do in this day and time, because back then, we was just lucky to have a school to go to. We really, I'm just telling you, a lot of times we looking at the way we are with technology and where we are today, we can talk on the telephone and be in another country and talk to each other in a couple of seconds. But back in the 60s, that wasn't happening. Okay? So some of the things that we were thinking about, we had people back in the 60s that had property, and what they was doing is the first chance they got to sell it, they did it instead of think about holding on to it, so they can think about it building equity, and so that they'll be able to use it in the future. And we have this mentality where a lot of us, and it's really, really sad, that even the parents be saying, look, I'm going to spend what I got right now, because, they're going to have to work and get what they want. But that's not the way it's supposed to be. We have to concentrate on building assets within our family units so that they'll understand. I was talking to a friend of mine today, and she was telling me about how she is preparing her grandsons She's having them to do interviews with her. Oh man, that's powerful. She's preparing them to understand about communication, how to present themselves, and also getting them where they're going to start understanding about obtaining assets so that they can have something to look forward to in the future. Because it's almost like this. If me, a man, I have children, why do I have the children? I want my legacy. I want to build a legacy. I want to build a legacy. So now when I do that, that means somebody carry on my name and carry on the tradition of the family. So we do this hopefully building and building. And when some of our parents, like we had grandma's house, you think about that. A lot of the ones that had the grandma house, grandma, when grandma died, we weren't investing in the house. We wasn't taking care of the house. We wasn't trying to make sure we keep the house up. And then the house getting in bad condition, what happened? Somebody to come through there because they already know about the assets, building assets, and they already know about preparing for the future. They say, well, you know what? We're going to offer you this. The house ain't worth that much. So what they do, they offer you a little something. They give you that. You take it. You go somewhere else. And most of the time, you don't think because you're not really prepared to invest in yourself and into your future of your children and your grandchildren. You end up going to buy a brand new car. You might go shopping and get all dude up and everything, pay off a lot of bills instead of taking your money and making your money make money. Saving your money so your money save you. Put yourself in a position where you start to have assets that you can look back on, that you can negotiate in the future when situations come up. Now, if you ask me right now, do I have assets? I'm working on them. I'm working on them. Okay? And it's not too late for us to change the way we think. All of us. I'm talking to every last one of us. Start thinking about that. If you don't have no children and you're young enough to have some, you should be thinking about preparing yourself to have some assets to be able to give to your kids or teach them how to get them. Because what's going to happen is that you're going to run into 20, 30, 40 years down the line, you ain't going to have nothing to stand on. And where we at today with society and the way things are going, it's imperative that we pay attention to start to purchasing land, start purchasing stocks, different things. I don't know all about that cryptocurrency and all that stuff, but I was talking to another one of my friends. He was telling me, all of this new way of money moving around, all of that we got to pay attention to, because we're in a different time. We're in a different time, as we already know. We got what we now do. We got masks. Okay, you couldn't have told me 15 years ago that I was going to have to be walking around with a mask. Do you know that back then, when most of the time somebody put a mask on, what they was doing, they was putting a mask on to go in to rob somebody. Now, shoot, you walk in with a mask on and everybody be just like, okay, they look at you when you ain't got one on. They ain't worried about nobody coming in there robbing them with no mask. They worried about the dude. Hey, if you somebody come in there and don't have a mask on, everybody looking at that person, not the person that's coming in with the mask. We got people coming in there with all kind of type of masks on. I saw a dude had some goggles on and a big old thing. And he was breathing through, and ain't nobody paid him no attention. But I'm telling you, what we have to do is we have to focus on where we are today. What are we doing to make a difference in our life? How are we changing how we're doing things? It's so important. How we're networking with one another. What are we doing to build businesses and other? Something else when we think about it. Back in the day, they had a lot of people living in the projects in low income areas. And you can think about this. We had people that was renting property to you. We had people that was renting houses for 20 and 30 years. I talked to somebody one time and told me that their parents still live in a house that they grew up in and they still renting it, and the people don't want to sell it and the parents don't want to move out of it. Think about that. But see, the people who own it That's their assets. And then making it so that, you, that person renting, is building on their assets and making sure that they are being tangible for them to be able to go out and take a loan off the house, pay some bills off the house or the property or whatever the case may be. So it's very, very important. Let us start to go back and get some information. Let us start checking out what's going on. I've been doing a little homework on several things, and I'm telling you, I'm excited because I know I may be like in a little transition right now with the program, but the program is going to benefit you. It's going to benefit us because we're going to keep bringing the information to you about changing the way we do things, saving money so money will save you. We got to get to a point where it's not all about, going to think about, something. I always told some of the guys who was out there selling drugs or selling whatever they were selling, and I always tell them, I say, do you know, man, you're a hell of a businessman. Even females, you're a hell of a businesswoman. You selling something to somebody to make them cloud their brain up or whatever. Now, watch where I'm going with this. What they weren't thinking about is this. They doing all this, they making this money so that they can have these stacks wads of money and show that they out here, I got a few $1,000s here and that. But how many of them was taking the money and going and putting them and buying property? Like a cleaners, a grocery store. How many of us look in our neighborhoods right now and see where we have a little laundromat in our neighborhood or the little mom and pop's restaurant? We don't see that because we haven't been invested in ourselves. We haven't been building off the assets. We haven't been worried about it. And I'm going to tell you the way we're going right now, if we don't really start changing the way we're going about doing things, we're going to be in for a rude awakening. We have to build. And we have to start talking about these things inside our homes. My sons here, they my boys, I'm their father, and they have a different perspective on business and stuff, right? So while I talk to them, my sons and them are educating me because one of my sons went to college, and one of my other sons, he been managing and dealing in different businesses for quite a while, and his business skills is phenomenal. So when I listen to them, they have a different look on these things. And now we are talking when we have conversation. We ain't talking about, who going to jail or who got pregnant or who robbed a bank. We talking about establishing businesses. We talking about purchasing property. We're talking about networking. We're talking about building assets for my grandchildren and for them when they have their children. So everybody that just tuned in, this is Rodney Grimes, People to People. Yo, I'm excited. I'm excited because I've come to a point now that is so imperative for me to keep moving forward. I don't know when my day, God got it, my number that He'll take me off this earth. But as long as I'm on this earth, what I'm going to be concentrating on right now is building, building, building. Building my spirit, building my finances, building my assets, building my way of survival. And I wanted that my grandson, that he'll walk in and he'll say, hey, granddaddy, they call me, I got several names they call me, but anyway, granddaddy, papa, Lolo, whatever they call me, they be like, yo, I'm thinking about starting a business. And I can say, okay, let's talk about that because you've seen what I've done and what I've been showing you. Anybody out there that have any questions or want to join in the conversation is 703-752-6120. 703-752-6120. Give me a call. I'm telling you. But hey, we got to think about, the topic is, where are your assets? Where are they? What are you doing to prepare yourself and your children? Are we that selfish within all we do is think about, living day to day for ourselves? I don't want my granddaughters to have to do some of the things that I've seen many individuals do to get money. I want them to become young queens, understanding business, networking, owning your own business. I had a young lady in here not long ago. She has um, a business where she do lasers, skin treatment. I'm proud of her. This is I'm loving this, and I don't want to make it about racial or anything like that. But in this country, man, we got to keep it real. A lot of black folks, man, we struggling. We struggling in having businesses, and we struggling in areas where we don't have grandma's house still in the family, great grandma's house, you know. And if we do, then I applaud you. I applaud you. So everybody did a tune in. Hey, listen to this. I don't want to be rambling off for a long period of time. I'm not going to stay on this, long today. I just want you to know, pay attention to your assets. See if you have any. See what you got. That if you was to die today or tomorrow, what are you leaving for your children? What are you leaving for your grandchildren? You know? Hey, we can get out here and buy shoes and clothes and cars and rings, you know. But what are you doing to invest in the future for the young people to follow you? I think my wife the other day she was saying, oh, I think that was her that mentioned this to me. It better be. She said something about purchasing a a building and we could live in it or something. Was that you, Z, to say that? Uh oh. Okay. She's looking at me. Hey, flip that over there. What's that look you gave me just now? Ah, yeah, she had that look over there. She's like, okay, yeah, huh? She looked over there and said, okay, what's going on? Who was that you was talking to? But whoever that was talking about, possibly having their own business. I mean, their apartment building or something they can move in it. That's talking about having assets. That's what you want. That's what you want. You want to have something that's going to be there that's going to be able to help you. And it's going to be something that's going to be beneficiary to your future for not just you, but for your children and your grandchildren. We got to change this conversation. What we doing? We talking about, we give them the cell phone. You know what's so funny? A lot of us take, now the cell phone right now, right? Is this an asset? Think about it. We invest in it because we pay for it. The cell phones what we buy now, most of them cost almost $1,000. $1,000, but we're investing in a phone so we can walk around and take pretty pictures and things like that. But will you take $2,000, $3,000, and then talk to one of your sisters or brothers or cousins and say, look, let's come together collectively so we can buy a little piece of that land that's over there that's just grass growing on it, and turn it into a parking lot, or turn it into a little laundromat, or a area where the kids can come over there and utilize it, where you can put a little skateboard arena there where they can go in and pay to get in. Say that, where was that? Oh, park. She's at a park. So, it's all about assets. Please, please, I want you to take this information, check into it, start looking at what we're doing. Let's make a difference. This is what this podcast is all about. Is about giving information. People to people, me, you, and them. Power to power, the power we possess, the power they possess. Positive thinking people, that's us who start thinking about developing things for the future, having assets so we can be able to have our children to move forward and have something to sit back and look forward to, and to be able to share. go back and say, you know, my grandfather, man, my grandfather invested in this property and he invested into this house, and now we still own it. But guess what? We bought this house and then we bought four more other houses. I was talking to one of my cousins the other day, and I was just telling how proud I am about it because she owns several houses, and her and her husband have several businesses right now. And let me tell you something, they have put themselves in a position where, yo, they got assets. They got things for their children to fall back on. The only thing that in this process, I'm hoping that the children are paying attention. Don't just sit back and be lazy and think, okay, I'm going to wait on them to do it for me so I can go, soon as they pass on, I can go sell it and have enough money to party for 2 years. And then after that, be walking around and riding a scooter. You know, or you're living in somebody's basement. We got to think about those things. It's people to people with Rodney Grimes. I tell you, we building, we building. And I'm telling you this, I'm looking for individuals who want to build different things to help them in the future. Knowledge, health-wise, more importantly, assets. My cousin said, I have some really, really strong thinking people in my family. And one of my other cousins, he told me, he said, he always give me little things to think about. And he said, Rodney, always try to save money so money will save you. Right? So now what I always do, I take all the change out of my pocket, I keep throwing them in this little box I got. And I always can tell when I'm struggling real bad because I'll go to the box and it's empty. That means I done took all the change to the grocery store and threw it in that little thing so I can get me a couple of dollars. But, you know, I thought about something the other day when I went to the box. It was real heavy. And I was like, man, now I'm starting to pay attention to how to kind of invest in myself. That's what we got to do. That's what you do when you build assets. You invest it in yourself. You're making a difference. So you got to put yourself in. Understand. Look up and see what it is. What type of assets are there? Are many. There are different types. Like I said, it's fixed. They're tangibles. They're operables. They got different type of assets that do different type things. Some assets you have don't make money for you. They don't do anything. They just something that you have. When you get these assets, you got to invest in them to make sure that they start to accumulate some value. So that when you need them, then they will be able to help you. We got to get to the point where we're starting to change our conversations with our kids. You know, I'm going to tell you something I was thinking about. You know, just recently, you remember when they had the programs where people was putting the money in and they was trying to invest money. I forgot what you called it, the wish thing or whatever. Right? You remember that? Not too long ago. That it was a big thing going. Everybody was doing that. Let me tell you where a lot of us went wrong. Some people benefited from it, and I ain't mad at them. Some people was paying attention. Some people were paying attention, but a lot of people didn't understand how to operate with money. They didn't understand about building. What they do, they get a little bit of money and they spend it and spend it and spend it and not invest it in themselves or into their families. Some people did it. I've been watching some of them, and I ain't mad at them. But a lot of us, what we did, we got greedy. We got greedy and we wasn't thinking about building assets in the future for others. And when I say that, I'm not talking about, your neighbors. I'm talking about just for your family members. Now we got a lot of people. I got a lot of people I pay attention to. They out there building. And I say, keep going. I'm so proud of you. Do what you do. But what I would like for all of us to do is to spread the information. Let's learn. You know, back in the day, they didn't have no problems when a pound of weed came in and the weed came into the neighborhood that they could get that weed spread all out among everybody so everybody was smoking. When they was dropping the drugs in the neighborhood, they was dropping that all over the place. When they was people was going to the liquor store, everybody come around. Back in the day, they had the bottle of Wild Eyes roll in 2020. Yo, man, you want to drink some of this? We ain't had no problem with sharing that. Well, let's start sharing knowledge. Let's pay attention to what we're doing. Let's share the wisdom unconditionally. Let us change the way we're doing things and how we're communicating with each other. Where we stop killing and stealing from one another. You know, when we go to a neighborhood, yo, if you don't pay attention to your neighborhood will fall right through the cracks right in front of your face. But a lot of you, what you need to do is when you're getting in these positions, especially this. Let me tell you something. Some people, man, I got to take my hat off to them. I hope that I don't offend anybody when I talk about different races that do things. I watch the Hispanics. I tell you, they come to America and 9 families that live in one big house. All right? And what they do, everybody start getting cars, and then they start branching off, and they start to building assets. Where another family will buy a house, and another family will buy a house, and after a while, they got 3 brothers and 3 sisters that's living in walking distance, that all of them have established some type of asset where each one of them owning their own property, or they start opening up businesses. Now, reason why I'm going to tell y'all this, I want you to think about this. I hope I don't get in trouble, but I got to speak the truth. They just brought all those people from Afghanistan or wherever. You know that, right? Where them people going? Them people going to be in the streets. What's going? Okay, hold on. Let's see. Hello, caller. You on the air? It's People to People.
Hello, PTP. Rodney Grimes, Rachel Coach. How you doing?
How you doing there, Queen?
I'm doing good. I wanted to kind of share some of the advice, share my personal advice for those that's listening, concerned about assets, investment, etc. The importance of it, and like you were saying, how we were raised and brought up. Our parents didn't mention about college and things like that, you know, based on their livelihood and what their parents taught them.
Right.
My parents, you know, sharecropper, and on my mother's side, entrepreneurs. So I have got that knowledge concerned about growing and surviving and the entrepreneur investing. So as a girl, my focus was art, but I knew that when I got prepared to graduate, I wanted to build my resume. So I decided to get a job, and my cousin, she was teaching me concerned about investing in stocks. And so my next job, when I graduated, I decided to look into what job I wanted and find out what stock and shares that I could invest my check into, right? Mm-hmm. And I did it without thinking. I did it. And when it came time for the layoff, I sort of forgot about it. And I had all these shares in the stock. Came right on time for me to use that to get out of debt, to use that to invest in photography equipment and stuff. And it paid off, and that's what put me on the platform, you know, until I got sick, you know, and then I'm like, you know what? Okay, I need to start all over again, and that's what I've been doing, is get back on my feet. It's never too late. You don't have to have millions of dollars to do it. It's just, like you said, look at what you invest in and see what returns you get.
Yes.
And I'm seeing returns on small investments. And I'm looking for other things to invest, like you said, the land. And that's my next thing that I was been doing. Property. Owning your own. So I just want to encourage people, it's never too late. Whatever you have, you can save the pennies. The pennies is money too. You walk, look down, there's a penny, pick it up, don't walk over it.
I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, too,
A penny, a penny. What's 100 pennies?
$100.
It turns into $1, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But I like what you said when you were saying about, again, what you did. You invested so that you can invest in things that you wanted to do, like the photography and your arts. And
yeah.
and see, people got to realize is that it's important for us to do that. We got to invest in ourselves. Because sometimes we looking for somebody to give us something, but everybody ain't gonna just come out and be generous and say, "I want to give you something." They want to see you work for it.
Mhm.
And then,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, and I was just saying. So when you're doing that and you invest in yourself and you invest in property and different things of that nature, you have a tendency to also to respect it, and you take care of it. And that is so important. But see, as you know, many families, they don't have these discussions. They don't sit down and talk about these things. What I've been trying to do. I've been trying to tell my sons that what I want to do is I want to start having at least a major family meeting, if not once a month, once every 2 months, where I sit down and we talk about investments, we talk about tangible things, we talk about assets, we talk about college and businesses and all these things, and start to get it where it become a part of our everyday living.
Yeah.
So when the future comes, what happens? We have assets that will save us, that we can use, that become they become tangible assets where we can actually use it and turn it into cash, so that it'll pay bills and buy other different things that we need to move forward.
Exactly. I have this other tip for those that's listening. There's a young lady that I listen to on TikTok, and I follow her on Facebook. And her Facebook page is called The Trusted Banker.
Uh-huh.
And she used to work for the bank industry. So she decided to come out of that and create her own business where she helped us to strategize all the way down to the penny, okay? And she had this formula of saving money for a month. You get around about $400 something, so based on each day. But it said, like, what's the day today? Whatever that day is, that's how much you put into the bank. So today is, say, the first, and then the second come you put in $2, third come you put in $3, just like that. And you accumulate around about $400 something at the end of the month. And you take that money, invest it in something that will give you a return, and you can start all over again the following month. And I did that, and that bad boy worked for me last year, and I continue doing that.
Well, that's
if you don't have it that day, you can catch up with whenever you get paid. You catch up and put it in there in the bank.
Well, that's what, again, when we're talking about changing bad habits to good habits, and that's where you were talking about financially being prepared and start to educate ourselves on how to build, how to build that wealth. Sometimes people think to be wealthy you got to be a millionaire, billionaire, and all that. No, you could just be you could be comfortable. You know what I mean?
Comfortable within your means.
Yes.
Whatever it takes for you to survive, the necessary things for survival.
Yes.
And that's my other thing I'm doing too, is to prepare people like that. The strategies that my grandparents shared, because this stuff that's going on to me, it's like, geez, back in the day, we didn't have all these things that we have today. We had to use our imagination to use for our toys. You
Right.
know, I want a little pony, so I had to go get the broom or a mop. Or if I was a baby doll, I had to go in the cornfield and get a shuck of corn, and a little mane came out of the hair. That was the hair of the corn, and draw a little face on it. You know,
Yeah.
we want a seesaw. We go get what was it? A barrel. Put a plank wood across it, and my brother be on one end, I be on the other end. We go up and down, up and down. We didn't have all this technology back then.
And see, that's why what we have to do is we have to educate our kids and let them know about what it was like back then and what it's like
Yeah.
right now and what can we do to prepare them for the future so that they can start to build and have an investment for their children to come. And you know, and
Yeah.
I feel really bad for a lot of us because we got shortchanged because we're just learning this right now. But I thank you so
Yeah.
much, a Queen. You always you're a number one supporter. Always call in and have something positive to say, and I appreciate you so
Yeah.
so much. Also, tell my brother Sam I said what's up, and y'all start packing y'all bags because y'all need to get back on this end of the world.
I'll be there sooner than you think.
God bless you, babe. I appreciate you.
Love y'all too.
All right.
Peace and love.
All right. So, hey, people to people, power to power, positive thinking people. This is Rodney Grimes. Hey, I'm trying to tell you, it's all about us trying to better ourselves and get prepared to make some changes. I'm just going to be an example for people. That's all I can do. I'm going to keep trying. I got a wellness coach I talk to. I got a life coach I'm talking to, and what I'm doing is I'm working on some other things, and in a couple of weeks, you'll be able to see these things because we're gonna keep moving forward. I got a lot of things gonna be changing for the program, and we building assets. That's what we're doing. We're investing. We're investing into people to people. I'm asking you to invest too. Help us stay alive. This is information for you. I promise you, I got a phone call from a couple of people that was talking about me. They say, Rodney, just keep doing what you're doing because when this thing blows up, and it's going to blow up, I'm telling you, it's going to be big. And they said, it's going to be able to benefit us in the future. And I know that because we're going to be looking at the assets. We're talking about investing. We got people starting they got all kind of pyramids and different that and this and this and this and that. Guess what them people doing? They're investing. They're investing. And people, if you focus on it and you do it well and be consistent, it pays off. You remember when Amway was out? Man, and it's probably somebody still selling Amway. Avon. Come on, those are things that people was investing in. And they was building from that. I remember somebody I saw them. I don't know what was that where they got the pink car or something. Was that Amway? Murray Kay. Murray Kay. You remember that? These people, they was building assets. That's what they was doing. They was investing into businesses where they can see money being saved, and they buying property and making the property work for them, and so that a lot of them was really, really, really strong in building these assets for themselves, so that they can to prepare for their kids. I have a cousin, God bless her. She's resting in peace. If she was here today, she would be one of them sitting right here telling me about building assets, investing and saving and getting into the stocks. My cousin, she powerful woman, powerful. She played a big factor in where I am today because I know that I have to invest. I have to invest in my future, and not just for me, but for my kids. Even though my kids are grown, I'm still doing that today, and I'm investing in my grandchildren, and I'm trying to get it so that I can build assets. You need to do that. For everybody to join in today, thank you. We getting ready to cut it down. I'm not going to be sitting here rambling off. We got a lot going on. I got to take this other time to just say something. Um, and I'm hoping that I can ask a lot of y'all to keep my family in prayer. Keep my family in prayer. We have one of my biggest fans. One of my biggest fans that I am just praying that God show His mercy and power and have it so that she can continue to watch me to move forward to build assets. I'm not going to really put it out there. Some people know what I'm talking about, but just keep my family in prayer so that we move forward. And I'm praying for you too. It's real. There I go. I keep wanting to say that real talk. You know why? See, you can see it back there on there where that's where it used to be called the Real Talk Live with Rodney Grimes. That poster you see back in the back, that's me and my wife, and that's date night. That's the date night poster that we had for advertising. I'm working on all that. I got all that. We changing stuff up. I promise you. You're going to see it as we go. I told y'all a while back. Pay attention. Pay attention to what I'm telling you. We building assets. I'm telling you. I am working on that, and I want you to do it with me. I want you to do it with me. Start investing in yourselves. Start taking your money, make your money work for you. You know, if you can spend two, three, four, $500 on a pair of shoes, guess what? You can actually save up a little bit of money and start looking into trying to invest in uh, something that's going to be giving you a return. Because after you wear the tennis shoes so many days and they get wet and everything, they ain't giving you no. You can't even resell them. But what happens when you start to invest in some property, stocks? You invest in homes. I had it talking about she buy homes and flips them. You know what she doing? She building assets. Thank you for those that be praying for my family. Um, is we you know right now we dependent on my Father God, huh? I can say it. Okay. So my I don't want to get emotional. So um, one of my biggest fans is my mother-in-law, and I am not going to stop doing what I'm doing because I know she believes in what I do. I know she believes in me helping people, and right now she probably can't watch me like she normally do, but I'm staying focused and strong, and I'm not being selfish and wanting to be where I say, God, you know, uh, don't take her away from me. I'm asking God to minimize her suffering and let His will be done, right? Because in our journey right now, I want to be able to build assets. So when a situation like right now that's going on, that if I be in the position where my mother-in-law is right now, that I'll be leaving something for my children. I'll be leaving something for my grandchildren. She's leaving me something. She ain't gone. My mother-in-law is just she's really ill. She's really ill, and I just um, wanted her to know, I'm going to continue to keep moving forward and do what I know that she want me to do. I'm gonna keep helping people. I'm gonna keep coming on the air. I don't care if I just got one person listening. Normally that one person would be her. I love her. I love her so much. And I ain't gave up on her either. Guess what? God is in control, not me, not man, not the doctors. God's in control. I'm trying to tell you what I know. And it's His will that will be done. Hey, I want to just say that, keep us in prayer. I dedicate this program today to my mother-in-law, and I wanted her to know that I love her so much. And I appreciate her believing in me. God bless you. Y'all have a good evening.